We're live. Is it live? I see it is. How about that? And with that comes my weekly admonishment. Is that the right word? I don't know. The part of the week where I beg you, where I implore you, to subscribe to all of the what have yous. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube page, Mike Montone. If you're watching this on Facebook, facebook.com/The Savage Crew. Like and follow and share all the shit there. Follow Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, MOYLER. The website is meatheadmedia.com. Please check that out. And of course, while you're here, which shoulder are they over? My left, my right? Of course, this is the time of the week when I show you a nice, big, huge set of tits. And once again this week we're going with Angela White, porn star of Australian descent who has massive fucking cans. So take a gander, check those out, and tell your friends. If you got friends who like big-ass titties, tell them this is the live stream to watch. We start and end every episode with a huge set of tits. What's not to like about that? Alright, with that in mind, let's get this fucking thing rolling, huh? Uh-huh. Pull up some notes for you right now. Here we go. De Blasio is finally kicking the PCP addicts out of Midtown. Cuomo just wants to kick someone's ass. Maybe lick someone's ass, too. The city named twice ain't so nice. Or New York, New York. It's a hellhole of a town. Your choice. My podcast. A fresh episode of the Savage Sacktap starts now.
You're listening to the Savage Sacktap. It's not a podcast, it's not a half-cast, it's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sacktap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
And we'll leave the big titties up for just a little bit longer. I am Mike Montone. This is the Savage Sacktap, the only podcast that I know of that starts and ends every episode with a nice big set of tits. Maybe there's other ones out there, I don't know, but we're doing it here. We're showing you big tits, and the past few weeks we've been starting every episode with like a little update on this laundry situation I've been in. And it got to the point I officially had gone through all of my fucking clothes, so I had to go take my laundry to another wash and fold place. Which, if you're just tuning into this for the first time, you're probably like, this isn't fucking exciting. But what happened was there was a fire at the place where I dropped my laundry off at, so half of my laundry is just sitting there waiting for me to be picked up. They want to wash it again. I guess that it got smoky. It's apparently sitting there. I have no access to half of my fucking clothes. The suspense is killing me. I got some great t-shirts in there. I don't know if anything's damaged beyond repair or what have you. We're over a month now that this has been going on. So I got to the point where I finally had to go do another batch of fucking laundry. I was out buying new clothes because I didn't feel like, lugging my shit to a new place. I had to buy a new laundry bag because obviously my other fucking laundry bag is still in the place that had the fire. I think it was like a little electrical fire too. Like it looks like they just redid the wiring. It's not like the place was fucking gutted or anything like that. But you still have no idea. It's, again, like I've compared it to, I feel like the family of how... Well, I think Natalie Holloway, I think they know at this point. But, in those first weeks when you think there's still hope that the missing blonde American teenage girl is still alive and hasn't been murdered and thrown into the Caribbean Ocean, that's where we're at right now. So I did my laundry at a different place. I also got one of those fucking carts to push it. Fucking game changer. I was carrying that shit like a fucking sucker for quite a while. But, so that's where we're at with that. It does look, it's not gated up anymore, so it looks like they're doing daily work, so hopefully the laundromat will reopen, and I can get the rest of my clothes back. I had some great pants and some great T-shirts in there that it would suck to lose. But that's that. Before we move on, I want an interesting little nugget I saw on TV the other day was it was like a news package on CBS2. Remember last week we were having a good laugh at CBS2 because their weather truck got stolen and crashed by a joyrider in New York City. Well, they did. I do watch the CBS2 news because part of it is I just take this joy in knowing that I'm not in the newsroom suffering working on that bullshit, and I get to enjoy it as a consumer. So that's fun for me. Usually while drinking or smoking marijuana, as I was just doing before the show. So if any of my delivery is a bit stunted, that's because I am indeed loosey goosey this evening. But they did a report on these two old people who I guess they were at a nursing home, and they decided to quarantine together throughout the whole of lockdown, because I guess what happened was they had met right before lockdown started, and they started hanging out, and they're in the nursing home, and then lockdown, they're keeping all the olds separated because we saw what we're going to talk about Cuomo later, his sex stuff. We could talk for forever about how Cuomo pretty much just fucking offed the entire elderly population of the state of New York by cramming these motherfuckers into the senior centers, just crawling with coronavirus. But we're not here to talk about that right now. We're here to talk about old people fucking, because apparently they got separated and they were like sneaking to see each other. Because if you don't know this, old nursing homes are just hotbeds of old people fucking. Like, that's all they do in there. I mean, it makes sense, right? You are counting down. If you're in one of those places, the clock is really ticking. Like, you are on your fucking way. So you want to get as many loads out as possible. And that's what they do. And I guess they had been sneaking around, and I guess they eventually got caught, which is, Could you imagine that fucking scene? Because, I mean, what's a nursing home orderly like? It's either like, a fat, sassy black lady or, a fucking hairy Eastern European dude. Either one of those people coming upon two old people fucking, going at it, like making out and hooking the old G would be absolutely just a hilarious scene. Fucking the Eastern European dude would probably drop his pants and join in, based on some of the videos I've seen, and there would be a lot of very uncomfortable, like, weirdo grunting. I cannot do Euro porn. There's nothing worse than when you see a hot chick on screen, and then you click on the video and they're Euro. It just takes me right out of it. There's just something, I don't know, just something a little too unclean. I think there's been too much ethnic cleansing over in Europe. I don't know what that has to do with it, but I don't know. I just can't, like, there are hot European chicks. It's the grunting of a European male is just very unsettling and off-putting. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah. So you think about that. You think about the early days of lockdown. You were at home ordering Netflix, watching Joe Exotic, banging fucking pots and pans together like an asshole, and this old timer dropping fucking loads all over the place. Good for him. Just their two soft, wrinkly, gross bodies mashing together. Oof. Nasty. Nasty as fuck. Yeah, but they do say that STDs run rampant in nursing homes. So I will, before we move on to the meat of this episode, let's just briefly talk about the meat that your grandmother's been getting inside the old folks' home. If your grandma is or ever was in one of these places, just know that she was getting loads blasted all over her, and there's a good chance that she had like the fucking clap or something like that. Your grandma could have a nasty, crusty pussy. You don't know. It's true. If grandma has ever brought around a gentleman friend after grandpa passed away, she probably got a crusty ass puss. Think about that. Think about your own family. If the shoe fits. Ah, a vagrant crackdown in New York City. Let me pull up the appropriate what have you. Yes, there we go. I don't know if you can see that, but that is a littered, disgusting, gross New York City subway car. And I was heartened to hear that the NYPD will finally be stepping up patrols in Midtown. We have to. Like, it is slowly getting back to normal. I still go in there a couple times a week. I haven't stopped. So I've kind of seen the progression, and now we're really starting to get a crowd back in there. So they gotta flush these fucking wackos out, because while there are tourists and commuters coming back through, it's also still a fucking zoo. Like, it is an open-air psycho festival outside of the Port Authority. And they're coming inside, too. I mean, it is just a fucking disaster out there. The Port Authority is a fucking mess. There was a dude, the NYPD arrested a guy on the platform in the Times Square subway station. He had an AK, and I believe he had like 2 full, like 30-round magazines, and he had a gas mask. So that's nice. That's good. I mean, you could fire if you walked out into Times Square at the right time, or if you got onto a subway car with that shit, you'd kill everybody. It's fucking game over. If you got into a closed subway car where there's no cop, and you got on with a fucking AK, woo! God damn, you could do some fucking damage. And then, of course, there was the video we discussed a few weeks ago of the gentleman eating the other gentleman's ass on the subway platform in Times Square. You really never know what you're going to see when you walk down the subway stairs. Like, you're almost guaranteed at this point, guaranteed to come across a pile of excrement or a puddle of urine. You're probably going to see someone slumped and asleep on the ground, on the floor in the subway station with rats and pigeons running about them. And then you get downstairs, and who knows? It might be a man armed with an automatic weapon prepared to wreak havoc. It might be 2 gentlemen sticking their tongues up each other's assholes on the bench that is typically reserved for strap hangers waiting for the next subway train. Perhaps you go above ground and you encounter what I ran into a couple months back was a wigger crossing the street declaring that he was, to no one in particular, so that's good, at least no one was being targeted by his threat to cut their hands off with his blade. Yeah, fantastic. Great job Bill de Blasio has been doing with the city. Yeah. Fucking fantastic. And his solution to the homeless problem, cram them all into by the way, if you're not from New York, you don't know this, the solution to the homeless problem was to take homeless guys and put them in hotels in one of the big tourist areas of New York City. Fucking genius. The Post says, crime in Midtown is up. The latest statistics show robbery up 166% year to date, and felonious assault up 208% for the same period, by the way, in a year when no one was fucking going outside. How the fuck? That's how bad it is. Tom Harris of the Times Square Alliance is thrilled. He pointed out that only 10% to 15% of the 170,000 people who used to work in the area have returned. I guess he's thrilled because the police are finally going to be increasing patrols. Yeah, so as I have explained, since lockdown started, the entire neighborhood, which usually just crawling with people. Like it's just fucking jam-packed. Sardine can. Pretty much any hour of the day, too. The place emptied out during lockdown, and just these PCP-addicted vagrants took over. And I think they can kind of sense shit changing because they've been acting even more and more agitated lately. Like, you really have to keep your fucking head on a swivel, especially when you're coming in and out of the of the Port Authority bus terminal there. It's fucking disgusting. It's such an awful representation of what New York City is supposed to be. I feel bad for like chicks who have to walk through there, like on their lonesome. If you're a 95-pound woman walking through there, like what the fuck do you do when there's literally a guy who looks like a fucking zombie? Like he looks like fucking is the Chappelle character, the crackhead. His skin is like all, ashen and disgusting like that, but look really dirty and like just moving erratically in your path. Like I'm a fucking 190-pound man. I go through there, I'm like puffed up, like I make sure that I look like I'm ready to fucking kill somebody, and I still go out of my way to avoid the crazies. What the fuck does some fucking chick do who's, if she's like a nurse or something like that, commuting in at an odd hour? Like, what a fucking mess. Jerk off de Blasio created. It followed, the police increase followed months of pleading by business leaders and others for the mayor to crack down on criminals and vagrants running amok around Penn Station and elsewhere. Yeah, Penn Station's another one where you get off the subway, you walk down the stairs, and you literally have to zig and zag through the legs. It's like a little maze created by the legs of the homeless guys who pass out down there in puddles of their own piss. As an example of the long-festering problem, a Vornado Realty maintenance worker said there's a whole crew of vagrants who, lie on the sidewalk near 34th Street and 8th Ave every morning. I mean, and this is going on in Los Angeles and San Francisco as well. Of course, San Fran, famous for its public defecation problem, and in Los Angeles, there are these big homeless encampments. It's the new jam in liberal cities to let homeless, they don't call them homeless anymore. They call them the unhoused or the undomiciled, which, by the way, fucking means homeless. It's literally just a synonym for homeless. That's fucking hilarious that they're like, we don't want to stigmatize them by calling them homeless. What should we call them? How about something that means the exact same thing as homeless? Yeah, it's just absolutely fucking retarded. The good thing, though, is that as retarded as New York City can be and as retarded as de Blasio is, New Yorkers will not put up with this shit. Like, you will eventually, if the NYPD doesn't get out there with the nightsticks and, settle a little hash, bodega workers are just going to start taking shit into their own hands. Like, they're just going to start fucking blasting these guys with shotguns. Because they're not going to fucking, they're trying to do business, and they got some guy who's outside, who's dangerous, who's on a fucking drug that makes him feel invincible, and, he's weaving in and out of fucking traffic, and he's attacking tourists and people coming in for their morning coffee. Eventually, the Bangladeshi guy is going to go out and protect his small business and just fucking, blow someone's fucking brains out. Like, that's what it's going towards. Oh, because otherwise he's going to get stabbed or slashed or whatever the fuck. Like, the city's just turning into a massive festering fucking shithole. We're telling homeless drug addicts, come here, we'll take care of you, and you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's stupid. There were 40 cops on this corner the other night because guys were brawling outside the Dollar Pizza, hitting each other with 2x4s and shovels. I mean, this is like, you've heard me, if you're a regular viewer of this live stream, all two of you, you have heard me describe the situation as a 1990s arcade game where you walk around picking up different weapons and engaging in battle with them. This is exactly what that is. Like, you're just using the joystick, going left, and then you pick up a fucking 2x4 and you pound the B button and whack the shit out of these guys as they're coming through. It's fucking nuts. They continue here. The people come out of the stations, the subway stations, shocked. You can see it in their faces. They can't believe what they see, the workers said. And yeah, like I said, an AK-47, a gas mask, and an ass eating. Put that on the fucking tourism ad. It's hilarious. The Port Authority has, there's an ad there's this bar in the Port Authority called McCann's. And there's an advertisement for McCann's where these two people are drinking a beer, and it's like, the hardest decision you'll ever have to make is whether to have another round or catch the next bus, or some stupidity that seems to imply that you would love drinking a beer at fucking McCann's at the Port Authority bus terminal, so much so that you would wait to take a later bus home because you want to keep hanging out at the fucking Port Authority. I mean, it's just such a fucking shithole. It's not even funny. And it gets masked by all the people who are constantly around there. But this last year of going through and just really seeing it for what it is it's fucking embarrassing. Like, you're supposed to be one of the greatest cities in the world. Or the greatest city in the world. And this is how you're greeting people upon arrival. There was a video near, I think it was Midtown again. It was like Upper West Side maybe, of three guys riding bikes surrounding a BMW in an intersection and just destroying the BMW while the driver was inside. They were like jumping on the fucking hood and kicking the fucking doors and hitting it with their bikes. It's fucking insane. Like, this is not normal. This is not happening in fucking Tokyo. Oh, no, we stop a BMW. PCP. What's this? They're saying, this is this Penn Station worker they're interviewing saying, I am finding vomit, feces, needles. There's no one here controlling them. I will say this. The Japanese probably do have vomit and feces and needles in their subway stations, but they're available in vending machines. Asians, I will say, are into some weird fucking shit. I can say that because I lived there. I have a kinship. I've been part of the culture. I've taken part in it. You haven't lived until you've eaten fish eyes, sang karaoke, and gotten jerked off under the table by a waitress, all in the same establishment. That was Thailand, not Japan, but still, places near and dear to my heart, nonetheless. I would love to get back out there. Now, I would say, a lot more fun, probably, to go out there as a civilian than when you're working for the U.S. government, because you do all sorts of fucking drugs. You don't have to worry about sneaking back on base for fucking curfew. Somebody gets lost in a fucking whorehouse. All sorts of shit. Asia fucking rules. Let me tell you something. When you can travel freely again, do yourself a favor, get out to fucking Asia. They know how to treat a guest over there. Good people, good part of the world. What is up? Next, we're keeping it quite local, and then actually we are headed to Asia for our final story. But for now, we are staying in New York. There he is, the old Cuomo-sexual. I love it. Andrew Cuomo has been making headlines like crazy, and we really haven't been touching on it at all, because it was a situation where the story, he's got a shitload of like these sexual harassment accusations against him. It was just moving so fast that I would have to have covered it like every week, and just it would become like the focus. And I'm not spending that much time on a political figure just because I try to not make this a political show. But elsewhere in Gotham, our favorite Goomba is indeed at it again. This is also in the New York Post. Governor Andrew Cuomo once likened himself to hot-headed mob scion Sonny Corleone in The Godfather and bragged about his sexual prowess during a strategy session with his staffers, according to an explosive new report. What an alpha. Cuomo. Pierced nipples, comparing himself to Sonny Corleone, the big-dicked, hot-tempered son of Don Corleone, the Godfather. And it's also a great subtle dig at his brother, Chris Cuomo, who is also a bit of a noted hothead himself, because that makes Chris, more likely than not, that would make Chris Fredo. You want to think maybe for his sake that could make him like Michael. It certainly doesn't make him. Who's Tom Hagen then? Jake Tapper? But yeah, I think that makes Chris is Fredo. We all remember that great video at that beer hall or wherever the fuck he was when those guys called him Fredo, and he got in their faces like a straight up guinea and was like, "Huh? Talk some shit, huh? Punk bitches call me Fredo." Like, it's great. The dude on CNN who's shaming us about wearing masks and getting vaccinated is also getting into fights about punk bitches calling him Fredo. You really, really can't make this shit up. Like, they're such fucking caricatures. And you gotta love that Andrew Cuomo, in his capacity as governor, is allegedly interrupting meetings to tell his staff about how well he lays down dick. Like, that's such a great Italian guy thing to do. Like, just leaning into the stereotype of the oversexed meathead who just hey, we're talking about we talking about campaign finance, or we talking about my brajol here, huh? Yeah, what's bigger? Hey. Fucking Cuomo. I do not agree with a lot of his policy prescriptions, but as an Italian American, and as an Italian-American male who's been known to be a bit of a meathead, I gotta tell you, I am filled with pride whenever he opens his mouth. It's just fucking hilarious. Obviously, if he did sexually harass anyone, that's bad. But I appreciate his aura, like how he just wants to talk about starting shit with people and slinging dick. That's so good. Like, you don't get that from other elected officials. You don't get that from Liz Warren. You know? Cuomo and Trump ain't so different. I bet they would get along quite swimmingly behind closed doors. He kind of reminds me. He almost looks like a very ugly version of the Philadelphia mob boss, Skinny Joey Merlino, who's a very fashionable, polished, dapper-looking crime figure. A former associate reportedly described how Cuomo enthusiastically described his power to intimidate people under investigation who visited his office. I loom over that table. I gotta try to work on a Cuomo impersonation. In their minds, I'm Sonny Corleone. And I'm capable of anything. I don't know. I can't do a great Cuomo. We have to wear, fuck. I feel like I've done a good Cuomo in the past. I'm just not getting it. I'm sorry. But I do appreciate his incredibly brash Guinea swagger. By the way, in case you're not familiar with The Godfather, Sonny Corleone, this is who Andrew Cuomo, an elected official in the state of New York, is comparing himself to. Sonny Corleone beat the shit out of a man in the middle of the street. And it was Carlo, it was his wife's sister's brother-in-law, and Carlo had been hitting Connie. But still, the character that Andrew Cuomo would like to invoke is one who beats the shit out of his opponents in the middle of the street, which is it's just fantastic. I love it. I love that Cuomo is implying that his political rivals are worried that he will publicly beat the shit out of them. That is just a boss fucking move for a governor. Respect. What do we have here? During his first term as governor, Cuomo reportedly interrupted a strategy session about the Occupy Wall Street protest movement to boast about his ability to see around the corner of politics, as well as his skill at performing oral sex, a person who was present reportedly told the magazine. I mean, yeah, how fucking fantastic is that? Again, you don't have to like him, you don't have to agree with his policy per se, but just picture a bunch of fucking nerds sitting around trying to, whatever, deal with the growing communist revolt that was going on in lower Manhattan during Occupy Wall Street. What could be done to pacify these furious young people? And Cuomo's like, he's just butting in. He's like, whatever, just let him sit around till winter. We'll freeze him out. By the way, let me tell you how much I love to eat pussy. You give me a bowl of bacala, I'll slurp it up without using my hands. He's a fucking... What a fucking gindaloon. What a chooch. The 3-term Democrat, who's mired in a series of scandals that include a raft of sexual harassment allegations, also reportedly accused an aide of going easy on a female journalist for personal reasons. What do we think he said? What do you guys, before, fire away in the comments with what you think Cuomo said to the aide. I'll give you a second. And remember, he reportedly accused an aide of going easy on a female journalist for personal reasons. What did Cuomo say? You banging her? The aide recalled being asked. Like, you can't make this shit up. He really is... Andrew Cuomo is like the guy that you buy D-Bowl from in the locker room at your local suburban Gold's Gym. Bro, you banging her? Hey, what's the problem? You banging her? You banging that broad? Yeah. Hey, don't forget, you still owe me $25 from last week. This is top quality shit. So what's going on? You giving that broad the beef? Fucking Cuomo. I would love it. I would love to see Cuomo in a fucking tank top and a pair of fucking Zubas with a fanny pack on and a full out tan and a pump. Maybe a nice bandana. And just asking guys if they're banging different chicks. Hey, bro, you banging her? Fucking Cuomo. Cuomo also reportedly insulted an unidentified male official in 2019 with a crude reference to transgender people. I'll give you a second to think about what maybe the crude reference was, and then I'll tell you what he said. Just think, I'll just give you a silent 3 count. Cuomo allegedly said, "You'd be a good-looking tranny if you got a good set of tits." As much shit as I talk about New York, where else do you get this? Like, the governor is basically an extra from The Sopranos. That's a Paulie Walnuts line. If only Paulie were not so, he'd be incredibly skeeved out by trannies. But that's like the kind of thing they would have a character in The Sopranos say if they had a tranny line. Like, there would have been, if there was some plot line where, like, if maybe Ralph Cifaretto becomes such a fucking freak that he winds up banging a trans woman, sort of like that plot line they had in Sons of Anarchy had a thread like that. Say there's a plot line like that, and they're all like sitting around the Bing or outside the pork store talking about trannies. I could see Paulie saying like, "Hey, Chris, you'd be a good-looking broad if you had a nice set of tits," and then like trying to get Tony to love the joke. But that's just, that is fucking gold coming out of a governor. You'd be a good-looking tranny if you get a good set of tits. I mean, dude, run for fucking president. Please. Because I want to hear I want to hear all of this said on a debate stage. Like, I want to, when they're on the debate stage and there's just that phony righteous indignation being thrown around. I would love someone on a debate stage to bring up the fact and, like, quote Cuomo saying things like, you'd be a good-looking tranny if you got a good set of tits. Like, that is the viewing we need. We need someone on stage during the next Democratic presidential primary to call Andrew Cuomo out and quote him talking about trannies with nice big tits. I need that to happen. Make it happen. I will form a fucking political action committee to see that happens. A former colleague also said Cuomo was so prone to explosions of temper that he once hurled a telephone past the colleague's head inside Mario Cuomo's 1982 campaign headquarters, the Times said. Cuomo's rage reportedly ripped a chunk out of the wall that the phone hit. It's amazing. It's like you almost hope that he gets caught on a wiretap talking like a fucking mobster, which I don't know if you're like, I watch a shitload of these organized crime documentaries, and they always play the wiretaps, and it's not like in The Sopranos where they're like these like witty, clever zinger lines. Like, they're really just violent, kind of sociopathic lines, and like delivered through like a scratchy voice on a fuzzy phone connection. Like, it's like, tell that little fucking piece of fucking shit cocksucker, if he doesn't have 30 for Rusty by Wednesday, we're cutting his cocksucking fucking pinkies off. And it'll be through like a scratchy, flinty, throaty, gaggly fucking, cause I don't know. I'm sorry. I was hitting the fucking vape before and drinking beers this afternoon. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say the audio quality on FBI wiretaps isn't fantastic, but it is fun listening to hot-headed mafioso talk about cutting people's fucking pinkies off. And I would enjoy it if we got to hear the same thing out of Andrew Cuomo. Anyway, I am heartened by the fact that he has definitely, behind closed doors, referred to de Blasio as either a pussy or a faggot. And I think that's pretty awesome. Again, this segment has been about supporting Cuomo policies per se, although he did get, weed legalized finally, but to throw suspicion off of his massive sexual harassment scandal, but still, legal weed is legal weed. But it is nice, it is fun to think about the fact that he is definitely, in an off-the-record meeting, referred to de Blasio as a pussy or a faggot. So for that, despite what we think about any of his policy positions, we do wish him a bona salud. Oh yeah, I needed that. Woo yeah. One more story for the evening. Yeah. Sorry, just trying to stall and delay. Here we go. If you can't see what that is right there, that is a statue of a Buddhist god, I guess, holding his own severed head aloft. And we have got a wild little story to close out the evening, and that statue is pertinent to it. I'm sorry, excuse me for the burp there, the oral passage of gas out into the microphone. What's the post say? A Buddhist monk in Thailand chopped off his own head on his birthday in hopes the gruesome sacrifice would bring him luck in the afterlife, according to reports. Jesus. Remember those kids in high school who used to, just kind of scrape their fucking arms as a cry for attention? This guy just served those motherfuckers. You hope mommy and daddy pay attention to you. You hope the guidance counselor notices it and calls home because you scrape your arm. Ooh, look at me. This guy cut his fucking head off on his birthday. Yeah. Come see me in the afterlife and suck my enlightened dick, bitch. Cutting your fucking arms, fucking pussies. If you're a teenager and you're in high school and some kid's just fucking cutting himself for attention, you should be like, bro, this fucking Buddhist monk made his own guillotine. Fucking, I'll see you. I'll raise you. No, you shouldn't. I should probably, in this day and age, I should probably say, no, I'm not telling teenagers to go out there and tell their friends to make guillotines to kill themselves. Because the teenagers of today are so fucking stupid that they actually would be called like the guillotine challenge would take over TikTok, and they'd be like, there'd be news reports, the guillotine challenge. Was your son working on a secret guillotine in his bedroom that he's going to use to cut his head off for the viral TikTok guillotine challenge? And the teenagers today actually are stupid enough to do it. And frankly, we probably would be better off if more of the teenagers of today guillotined themselves. But I would never tell them to do so. I would never influence or inspire them to do so. Life, my friends, is worth living. And especially because I don't want to get sued for inciting a TikTok suicide either. So don't do it, kids. Take it from me, and don't guillotine suicide yourself. Anyway, what's this guy's name? I'm gonna butcher this. Tomakorn Wongprecha. Maybe I didn't butcher it. Maybe I got it good. 68, a monk for 11 years. Wow. What do you think? He must have fucking, for the first 57 years of his life, he must have fucking lived. Because there are two Thailands. There is monastic Buddhist Thailand. Very nice people, but they live a very quiet, serene life of pontification. And then there is fucking Bangkok, Pattaya, fucking two chicks with strap-ons spit roasting a lady boy while the Navy chaplain jerks off in the bleachers. So there are two different Thailands that you can experience. And I wonder if for 57 years this guy experienced that Thailand and was just like, yeah, fuck it. I've done all of this Thailand that there is to do. Let me try the other Thailand. But anyway, a monk for 11 years built a guillotine near a religious statue portraying the god Indra doing the same thing, the UK's Metro reported. If this was the US, we would definitely have a huge problem with copycats. And they would wind up, like Chuck Schumer would do a press conference about the scourge of homemade guillotines, and they'd ban homemade guillotines, and you wouldn't be allowed to talk about the god Indra on fucking Twitter or YouTube anymore. You'd get fucking shadow banned. But cutting off your own head is a savage move. It's much more savage than a suicide bombing. Like a suicide bombing, you can do it knowing that no matter what, as long as the bomb goes off, like, yeah, you're going to be blown to bits, but you're probably going to take out a bunch of fucking people you hate if you do it right. You're going to die with the satisfaction of killing and maiming your enemies, which is a pretty awesome way to die, right? Especially if you're a Palestinian. There aren't a lot of awesome ways to live if you're a Palestinian, so you understand why they choose such a wild fucking way to die. And then especially, when you sweeten up the pot with a little cash for the family and the possibility that maybe there are a bunch of virgins waiting to suck your dong on the other side. And if not, you still 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You still get the money for your family, the honor and respect in the community, and of course, like I said, the killing and maiming of the Zionist occupiers, which that's something to hang your turban on. But yeah, I mean, cutting your own head off is a wild fucking move. Like, there is really no plus side to that. Like, I would be not so much afraid of dying. I would be way more afraid of fucking up. Like, death by homemade guillotine also carries a huge risk of fucking up and being pinned to the ground for hours with a guillotine blade halfway through your neck. Like, if this guy would have been much better off if he had been worshipping a god who, like, swallowed a fucking cyanide tablet or put a 38 special to his temple. You know what I mean? Like, why? Cutting your own head off. That is literally the most difficult way to kill yourself. I'm trying to think. The only other way are, like, those super medieval ways of killing yourself where, like, you seal yourself in a box and you cover your body with fucking honey and flies just land on you and they just eventually eat away at your body or whatever. That was supposed to be a pretty bad way. I guess you could, in theory, you could do that to yourself. Also not a good idea, but as far as the guillotine goes, a pretty asinine way to kill yourself, but so asinine that it also becomes incredibly badass. He left a note, which was nice. If you're going to cut your own head off, you should leave a note because people are going to have questions. The note stated that chopping his head off was his way of praising Buddha, and he had been planning this for 5 years now. His wish was to offer his head and soul so the Lord could reincarnate him as a higher spiritual being in the next life. Yee. Oh, there's got to be a better way to do it. I mean, do you think he got wasted one night and he talked a bunch of shit? And there was a guy that, like, you know, when you get hammered and you just start talking out your ass because you're like, dude, no one's gonna hold you to any of this. Like, we're all bullshitting. But every once in a while, there's the one guy who's there is like, you won't cut your fucking head off for Buddha. He's like, yeah, I love Buddha enough to cut my head off for him. Yeah, I'll do it. He's like, oh yeah, okay. He's like, oh, but I mean, you can't cut your own head off. It's impossible. Just make a homemade guillotine. Yeah, that's where you go. Go make a guillotine. Yeah. And like every time the guy saw the dude, he just brought it up and reminded him, "Oh, so Bob, when you're still cutting your you said you wanted to cut your head off for Buddha, right? Oh, no. Yeah, well, I found these plans online for a homemade guillotine. They look pretty simple. I mean, it looks like it can't take more than 2-3 weeks if you get to it after work for an hour or so each day. Maybe a month if you got to wait for parts. Yeah, do it. You test it on a couple watermelons to make sure the blade's nice and sharp, and you'll be good to go. Yeah. Eventually, he just fucking goads him into doing it. That's just wild. He fulfilled his goal and met enlightenment, said one of his followers. Yeah, that is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it would be that he wasted a bunch of time building a fucking guillotine in his garage and then ended his life prematurely in what was probably an incredibly terrifying and painful manner. The National Office of Buddhism has asked the local government to help spread the message that people can give money or free captive birds as a sacrifice rather than lopping off their heads. And I'm sure any number of things in between. That's a pretty massive chasm there between lopping off your heads and donating a couple bucks to get a homeless guy a sandwich and freeing a captive bird. Are there a lot of captive birds in Thailand? Where are these birds getting where are they getting captured? That's interesting. I spent considerable time in the region. I don't remember hearing about these captive birds. Anyway, I would definitely rather donate a couple shekels, a nice Venmo to the local temple, instead of suiciding myself with a homemade guillotine. Is what I'm saying. And what do we do when we get to the end of the show? We put a big fat set of tits on the screen. Look at those big ass titties. I remind you to subscribe, you bastards. I also check the comments section. Who's checking in here? Alexander Ponce, thank you for hanging out with us on the Savage Sacktap. Sorry, I'm a little fucked up, not gonna lie. Dustin Landry, some random user whose name I can't see. Thank you all. Who else was on here? Kristen Williams, thank you for joining us this evening. John Dunleavy, my man. Thank you all for checking it out. I hope you enjoy the massive, which way am I pointing? Here? The massive heaving set of bosoms there. Again, if you find yourself with nothing to do later on, that is Angela White, and she makes some fantastic videos that you can find over at xvideos.com. I highly recommend checking out Angela White's titties. Wayside Wade, of course, is saying hello down there. Wade, one of the regular viewers, thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight. And a reminder that you can find this shit all over. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Facebook.com/The Savage Crew. Please like and follow and share and send this out to all your cohorts and friends and other other lowlifes who would enjoy this. Other pieces of shit who can be convinced to watch a live stream simply because there are huge tits on screen. That's the kind of people that we're trying to attract here. But yeah, click the fucking buttons, check it out. Meatheadmedia.com is the website. You can find all of this shit there. And I gotta go eat something. Fucking worked out like a motherfucker before. My blood sugar's getting low. I'm getting hangry. Motherfucker. Alright, I'm getting out of here. Thank you for joining me. I'll give you one last second to glimpse at these big-ass titties, and then I'm going to end the broadcast. Adios.